How you going? Welcome to another episode of Custom Spray Mods. Now today I'm going to fix this motorcycle tank. It's had a dent that's been put in it somehow in the fuel tank, and someone has tried to repair it with some body filler. Now body filler can fill up dents quite large like this, but whoever's done this hasn't prepared the metal properly. So today I'm going to rip out that body filler, put in new body filler, and then I'm going to sand it, prime it, put new paint on, try and get this looking new again. So I'm just going to use a $20 can of body filler and some paint, spray cans, get this looking good again. Alrighty, so this filler in here is just totally stuffed, so I need to remove it all and see what's under there and try and get it in a state that I can put new body filler in there. Look at that bog job. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is sand it with some 80 grit sandpaper, and that's going to scuff up that metal and that existing primer and make my filler stick in there really good. Always make sure to clean the area first with some wax and grease remover, and that'll make sure that your body filler will stick in there really good. Now if you've got a bare metal area like this, you want to try not to touch it with your bare hands or your skin, because you have oils and your hands are contaminated, and by touching that you can leave those oils and contamination on the metal, and that can cause the filler or primer to lift or cause problems later down the track. So wear gloves or just try and stay away from that bare metal area. Okay, I'm going to use a 2-pack body filler, and that means it needs a hardener. And here's a good way to get your hardener to filler ratio. Putting a thin line down the middle of your pile will make sure you get the right mixture. Now you really need to mix in that hardener good, and when you apply it with some pressure. That'll avoid any air bubbles. Because this is a really deep dent in this tank, I'm going to apply some more body filler. First, I'm going to let it dry, then I'll sand it with some 80 grit sandpaper, clean it with my wax and grease remover, then I'll be ready to pack some more on, then I can start shaping it. Before your filler is fully set, you can use a product called a cheese file, and that just shapes that body filler the way you want it to, and it avoids any excess sanding. Okay, then you can use some 80 grit sandpaper and shape that body filler the way you want it. Now it's not easy, but you can always just apply some more, and then eventually you'll get it the way that you want it to be. Now I'm going to use 240 grit dry and sand over that filler and around the repair. Try and get it as smooth as possible. Okay, as you can see here, I've got some fine pinholes, so I'm going to use some more body filler and put in another thin coat in there because we don't want them showing up in our paint. Then I'll be ready for my primer and spray putty. Okay, now I'm going to remove the fuel filler lid just to get it ready for putting the primer on. And here's a mad tip: when you take these off, should be some long screws and some short screws. So pull your short screws out and put your long screws into the holes of your short screws. And screw that down, and it will just slowly lift the fuel cap off the fuel tank. Ba-boom. Now I want to put some spray putty on this job. Now I can't put spray putty straight onto the filler, so first I need to use this etch primer. Once I put that down, I can spray on 4 to 5 coats of my spray putty, and that's going to fill in any scratches from sanding that bog, and it's also going to fill in any defects. So I'm going to put 4 to 5 coats of that down, and I'm ready for my next step. Okay, I've got the filler the way I want it. I've got my spray putty on, I've sanded it with 240 grit dry. Now I'm going to clean it with some wax and grease remover, and I'm going to put some etch primer on it, then I'll be ready to sand it again, put some paint on it. Okay, so I've sprayed my spray putty, sanded it down, then I've put my etch primer on top. Now I've left it overnight to dry properly. Now I'm going to spray it with some guide coat and sand that down again. I forgot to get my matte black, so I'm going to use some gold from previous jobs, but any kind of spray can will do for a guide coat. Just spray it on there and then sand it all off. Okay, now it's time to sand my etch primer. First I'm going to sand it with some 400 grit dry, then I'm going to sand it with some 800 grit. 800 grit wet. I'm also going to sand the rest of the tank with the 800 grit. That's going to make my new paint stick to that as well. And don't forget to use wax and grease remover before the next step. Okay, I'm going to use an automotive enamel paint. Now I got this from VG Auto Paints, and I got it matched to the colour of the tank. It's going to dry glossy, and it's going to be fuel resistant as well, so it's perfect for fuel tanks. The only downside is, enamel paint doesn't come in metallics or pearls, so if you've got a solid colour, this is probably the way to go. Okay, I'm going to spray 3 to 4 coats of this, waiting 10 minutes between coats. Then after a couple of hours, I'll be ready to attach it to the bike. Okay, so this motorcycle tank had a huge dent on the side of it, so we ripped out that existing body filler in there, we put some new filler in, and we prepared it all properly, put our spray putty, primer and paint, and now it's a nice glossy finish straight out of the spray can. And that's because we use an enamel paint, and that dries really glossy straight out of the can, and it is fuel resistant as well, so that's the advantage of doing it in enamel paint. And yeah, so that's about it. And you can go try it yourself. Alright, and if you can, check out my website. I'll put it there. And also my Facebook page. And yeah, see ya. Body filler!